The Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, last playoff game of the week. We got the Sunday night version of this game. Here's the deal to me. Pittsburgh, that Pittsburgh plus 10 line last week, I knew Roethlisberger was going to be out. Mason Rudolph was going to be starting. That was like the easiest bet of the week for me. The Pittsburgh Steelers last season in 2019 were 8-6 without Ben Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh, the first time they played Cleveland, completely dominated that game. And for some reason, David, and we say this with J.K. Dobbins, we say this with a few people, I cannot understand, and Cleveland fans, I'm rooting for Cleveland. I want this to be out there. I want you to know this. I'm rooting for Cleveland. I love where Cleveland is. It is unfathomable to me that the Browns continue to not give Nick Chubb 20 carries a game. It is
25.
Give him 25. Give him 30. Do what Tennessee does to Derrick Henry. You don't lose a game when you do that. The last week, Pittsburgh against a backup quarterback was a 2-point conversion away from making that a very uncomfortable, last drive for the Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb gets 15 carries, man. Come on. And what was it, the week before when all the receivers were hurt? I know that the Jets were loading the box. I get it. Just keep running. And I keep hearing about how great this offensive line is. Okay, then prove it, man. When they're loading the box, just keep running. Nick Chubb is next level talented. We saw him take a carry to that. I cannot understand why you see a talent like this on the field. He's the best running back, in my opinion, since LaDainian Tomlinson. And don't give him the ball. I mean, they give him the ball a little bit, but they give him the ball and they're like, oh, let's give Kareem Hunt some carries. In important situations, what do? They hand the ball off to Jarvis Landry. Chubb isn't even on the field. It's Landry and Kareem Hunt. Are you kidding me? That's what concerns me for the Cleveland Browns. If the Cleveland Browns are just like, hey, screw it, we're going to give Chubb the ball 30 times, I'd pick the Browns here. I honestly would. But they're not going to do that. Let me get to the fantasy stuff. I should have pulled up my screen while I was going on that little ramble there. Cleveland, Baker Mayfield, I'm not starting. Chubb, yes, I'm going to start. With his 10 carries that he's going to get, he's going to go for 100 yards and a touchdown. Drives me freaking crazy, Cleveland. Just come on. He's a Hall of Fame talent. Give him the freaking ball. I cannot understand it. And I'm saying this, Cleveland, because I'm rooting for you, and I want this to happen, and I'm rooting for Chubb. Not that I care about Georgia football or Browns football or anything. I'm just rooting for the city to be successful, and they have all the pieces there, but they're not executing the way they should be. They blew the Jets game. They blew the Raiders game. It drives me nuts. Anyway, receivers, Jarvis Landry's a start. If you're looking at tight ends, I like Hooper, but I actually don't like him this week. I don't like the matchup. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, Roethlisberger's a start. James Conner I have as a start grade, but I think that's too risky. I think what we're going to see with Roethlisberger back in the lineup is they're just going to throw the ball 60 times. That's what Pittsburgh does, which means I think you start all three wide receivers, Johnson, Juju, and Claypool. And then Ebron, I think, is a start as well. Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball. It's in Pittsburgh. I do not love this matchup for Cleveland because they just don't run Chubb enough to do it. And Stefanski, if Stefanski's not going to do it, who will? Anyway, what do you think, David?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I got a little bit of a bone to pick with Mike Tomlin here. And not specifically Mike Tomlin, but more of just the idea in general. And I get it. You rest your starters because if they played their starters all the way through and one of them got hurt, you would be hearing the opposite. But they had to know there was a chance that they were going to be playing Cleveland in this wild card round. Like they get paid too much money not to know that.
Right.
And Mason Rudolph brought him back or made a game out of it. But early on, when Nick Chubb had that first long touchdown run to start the game, he had it with 9:29 left in the first quarter. And then they kicked a field goal, and then they kicked another field goal. It looked like Cleveland was going to completely pummel this team.
Yeah, it did.
Completely pummel them, like really pummel them. And that is not good for me. I do not want to give Cleveland that
confidence.
And I don't want them to know that they can do that because now Cleveland comes in. Let's say Mason Rudolph didn't bring them back, right? Didn't make a game out of it.
Yeah.
And Cleveland went on like they did in the first quarter and a half, and they just pummeled the Steelers. Now you go in to a wild card round against a team you just faced that you just let completely pummel you and just get that confidence that, one, they can beat you, two, figure out how to do it with Nick Chubb right up the gut. So I don't love the fact that the Steelers sat a bunch of their starters this past week. I get it. I do understand it, but I also feel like it could come back to bite them, because I don't think it's going to be the same Cleveland Browns team that they completely pummeled way back in whatever week it was early on when they won 38-7 against the Browns the first time. Coincidentally, had no Nick Chubb in that game. So there might be a strong correlation there as well. But in that first game, when Pittsburgh completely went off, we'll look at both of them. James Conner had a great game, 20 for 101 and a touchdown. Even Benny Snell had a rushing touchdown at the end in garbage time. So they ran the ball well against this Cleveland defense. Chase Claypool had a good game, 4 for 74 receiving in the first matchup. He also had a rushing touchdown, 2 for 7 and a rushing touchdown. James Washington, 4 for 68 and a touchdown. We might have had no Deontay, I think, in that game. Juju, only 2 receptions for 60 yards in the first matchup. On the other side, Cleveland, I don't want to take too much away from it because I don't think it's going to be the same thing without Nick Chubb, but Mayfield really struggled, 10 of 18, 119.
Sorry, is this the first or the second matchup
this
for
was the
Baker?
First matchup.
Okay, got it, yeah. And he threw that early pick six, right?
Yes, it was. The first touchdown was a Minka Fitzpatrick defensive touchdown. And obviously Baker's taken stride since then, so I won't hold that too much against him.
Absolutely, you're right.
I think the more relevant game would obviously be this past week when Baker went 17 of 27, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. But obviously you can see only 196 passing yards. They're just not going to pass against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So obviously you're fading everybody across the board, basically not named Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, I think, for Cleveland.
You know, I just and let me say this, because I kind of went on a rant with Cleveland and their play calling, and I've been on record of this too. Randy Fichtner and what he does in Pittsburgh, like, I don't mind the heavy passing approach, but it's not like, well, let me say this: when Le'Veon Bell left town, when he was on his jet ski in Miami, like, James Conner's, look, he's not what Le'Veon Bell was, but he's pretty adequate. They just ignore the run game, and what particularly drives me crazy, if it's 4th and goal. Let me just say this. If it's 1st and goal, 4 downs in a row, they'll just throw fades or slants or something like that. They'll go empty backfield in short yardage situations, which I think tactically is the wrong thing to do. If you're playing chess, you don't do that. You don't spread unless you're going to run a quarterback draw so that you have the space of linebackers that you have lanes. You just don't do it. I really don't. This game is going to drive me crazy. Cleveland, I think, has the personnel to win, but I don't think they're going to. I don't. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game. Let me hit you with the line here. Cleveland +4 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who would you take there?
+4?
+4.
I don't like betting this game at all. I don't think I'm really comfortable if I said the Steelers, or comfortable if I said the Browns here. So I guess give me the Steelers, because I'm picking the Steelers to win. I think that they just have a history with winning, and it's in their culture, just so much more. And the Browns' culture is changing, but it would take a lot for them to make that. If they beat Pittsburgh, it's going to be quite a leap that they've made. So I'm going to just stick with Pittsburgh for now until I see it out of Cleveland.
Here's my thing. If Cleveland makes an effort to get 40 touches combined for Chubb and Hunt, and I would say it's probably even more like 45 to 50. But Chubb has to have 20 to 25 carries and another couple of receptions. You have to be willing to throw screen passes to Nick Chubb. He's pretty good with those as well. We've seen him take screen passes to the house. Kareem Hunt, look, I know he does something. Are his hands that much better that you're going to take Nick Chubb off the field in a one-back goal line play? It's just not smart. It just isn't. And I don't think that's going to get it done against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Pittsburgh, they sagged in the fourth quarter of the season, but they've played better the last couple of weeks, and they played Cleveland pretty well yesterday. Once Cleveland went away from Nick Chubb, I just don't have any faith that Stefanski's going to make the effort to get Chubb as many carries as he needs to control the clock and to wear down the Pittsburgh defense and to wear down that pass rush. I think over time, Pittsburgh is going to go away. So let me say this. My computer projections, computer score completely unbiased by me. It's just computer stuff, a program I've written. Pittsburgh 35, Cleveland 22. is what the score comes back. I wrote Pittsburgh 25, Cleveland 16. I think it's an easy cover for Pittsburgh, not because Pittsburgh's that much better than Cleveland, but I think they're going to be out. I think Cleveland's tactically they're going to be outcoached, and specifically because Chubb isn't going to get enough touches. And it's driving me crazy, and Cleveland fans should be pissed about it. But it's a great season otherwise. What are they, 12-4? 12-4 this year?
Yeah, they're having an excellent season.
And you know what? That's going to be the norm going forward. And I like Stefanski. I'm a big fan of the hire, but for him to not stick with the run against the Jets, to not stick with the run against the Raiders, you're telling me he's going to stick with the run against the Steelers? It's not going to happen. It's realistic. He's kind of got to grow. I think after the season, he'll probably, look and see, okay, well, what can I do better? Because I'm sure he's a great head coach. Don't get me wrong, but it's a shame to me because Nick Chubb to me is a Hall of Fame player, and I don't think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame because they're just, I don't know, man. I like Kareem Hunt. He's a great running back, but come on, man. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy, David. Anyway, there you go. That's the show.
Hopefully, Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins both get 25-plus touches this weekend, and we can both be happy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Dobbins and Chubb, they're both my favorite running backs coming out of. And when I say favorite, I mean I think they're going to have the best careers of their rookie class. And they came out with some good players, especially Dobbins this year. You had Jonathan Taylor. You had a lot of good rookie running backs this year. To me, J.K. Dobbins is the best running back this year. They're like the same, and these teams keep giving. I understand keeping a player fresh, but you're talking about taking your best player off the field in goal line situations, and you got to have a touchdown. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I know Browns fans are gonna, you're gonna be commenting below. Steelers fans, hey, I picked you to win, but golly, I just don't see how you do it, David. How do you take your best player off the field when you're like 3 yards and in and you got to get a touchdown?
I would think you point to him or something, or maybe send like something into the headset, but I would think it would be like point, like come off the field. Like that's how you would do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're like, we don't want our best ball handler in there. Let's get Kareem Hunt in there. We want to throw a little shovel pass or something, or we want to hand the ball off to Jarvis Landry, get the tough yard. Look, man, it works, and they're 12-4. That doesn't work in the playoffs, guys. It doesn't. Been watching this stuff for 30 years. It's not going to work. So, complain about it now. Lick your wounds on Monday. Anyway, that's the show, David. Got anything else for the crowd before we head out?
No, I'm gonna go just hibernate in like a coma in my bed and just try and
hydrate, get some electrolytes, take a multivitamin.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. On that note, hey everybody, go out, make some bets, play some fantasy, and have a great week. We'll be back next week talking about the divisional round. Talk to you then.